This is not a normal history class. Not for me. Not with me. I think being an African American, maybe it is for others. I doubt it. I don't think that anybody could say this is a normal history class. I mean, it's hands-on. I mean, many other young history students that I've talked to are like jealous about the fact of how much we've done, the research, the writing, the hands-on experience, the oral interviews. I mean, this, I think, sped me up 2 or 3 years. You know, 1 minute I'm taking History 250 with Dr. Wonder, and the next minute, everything that I'm learning in that class, I'm seeing glints and pieces of it. And by no means I don't think that we or I am an expert now, but I can tell you that because of the course, that I'm much further ahead in my life experiences, you know, combined, that connectivity is huge for me because now I understand, you know, how to process history and how to actually do oral histories and how the dots connect throughout history for African Americans by going through basically a portion of a town's history that just lay dormant in a box, basically, and then the history that we have here that's in the warehouse for the National Historic Society.
I mean, everything was different. Even, you know, when we were reading books and discussing, it was more on less on like a lecture level and more on a student and professor are able to share ideas and not just be taught at. So I think that was different. And then from then we did some work in the Nebraska Historical Society, or State Historical Society.
With the Great Plains Black History Museum.
Yeah, with the Great Plains Black History Museum. And so that was definitely hands-on and sort of going through the pictures and that sort of experience you don't normally have in class. And then the History Harvest itself was obviously very different, a different event. And then from that point on, we were sort of working on a website, which I had never done before. I'm not computer savvy or anything like that. But so that was definitely a different experience. And it was cool because we were all learning together, all having problems, and working through them together. So that was nice to meet in a classroom or sort of whatever it is, conference room, and just sit there and work together and try to work through it. So it was
the team dynamic is important
definitely.
too.
To work with artifacts, to see it up close and touch it, that's completely different than just reading about it.
Well, for one thing, it's a tactile experience. You can feel it. If you don't believe what you're reading in a book, it's harder to discredit a document you hold in your hands. Or in the case with the things we handled from the Black History Museum, you know, those objects had energy. They were very powerful. And they needed no interpretation in a lot of respects. And I liked that raw feeling of history as opposed to it being filtered through someone else's lens.
So I kind of wanted a more hands-on experience rather than just reading and writing and that sort of thing. So I just really wanted to see and figure out what I was going to do with my life. And I thought this would be the best way to sort of see if there was a future for me in history or where I was going with that.
Because I realized, you know, I'd gotten to this major and I had no idea of what actually being a historian would be like, what the physical part of it would be.
Like I've said, this whole interview is just the fact that I actually got out there to actually see real artifacts, to pull them out of the darkness into the light, literally, like out of a dark trailer into the light of the day, metaphorical as it is. That's something I've never gotten to do before, and learned
a little bit about processing,
and actually just to be able to do the field work. That's made me feel proud to be a history student. I mean, a couple times I thought about, do I really want to be a history student at all? I mean, what am I going to do with this? Going to North Omaha and doing everything we've done over there has solidified every belief I've ever had about history. Doing that, looking at all the old artifacts, that's what I've loved to do for years. And I don't know, it's just, there's that feeling inside that I guess any historian would love to have.
Getting in this course and with your knowledge and the exposure that we had was just absolutely amazing. I mean, I am still overwhelmed, much more energized, excited. I have a really new direction in my life, and it's really exciting creating that connectivity. You have that connection to history between studying the History Harvest itself and the actuality of going out there and getting hands-on, rolling up sleeves, and then turning around and putting that soft finish by touching hands and touching people and viewing artifacts that they have.
I remember my senior year of high school, my history class, or well, my entire class, I guess, we all took a trip to Washington, D.C., and it was kind of like, well, this is, all the whole, like, Maryland and just around there, and it was like, well, this is where all the history is, this is where all the important stuff happens, and where it did happen, and, this is what's worth learning about, and then taking this class and going to the Great Plains Black History Museum and seeing all the, it's just a lot of family stuff that eventually, once you build it all together, you see how it really, like, relates to each other and to, like, the larger community. And it's the first time, it's really strange, it's the first time that I ever realized that, like, important history can, happen in our community, and it's stuff that's worth learning about and worth knowing about. And so yeah, like, you take history classes about, America since 1800, America before Western, civilization. None of that ever makes you really think that, you just think that the history is so far removed from your own life, and this is really the first time that it brings to light how much history, surrounds us in a much, I don't know, closer, more personal, intimate kind of way.
I mean, for me, like, I had never even thought to really, like, focus on African American history. I didn't really know anything about, the community or, like, how it all came together. It's just kind of one of those things that I would brush over in other classes. But this has been, really eye-opening, to learn about, their struggle, how strong, their community is to keep it going despite everything. But I think we handled, race really well because we were open and we discussed things and how, like, different experiences that we've had. So I think that was a really, important component to the project. And so I really appreciated, kind of diving into that and learning more about it.
I think a class like this can really help because it's so much more active and, you can kind of make the experience into what you want it to be. I'd just like to see elements of this in more history classes. Just, getting that hands-on experience is so radically different than anything you can do, and it helps you internalize it a lot more. Here, you can really tell that this is your area of expertise and the other people that are working in it, and you're bringing the students into that field to work with you, so I think it causes a lot better coordination.
I had a great experience. I really recommend it, especially to people like myself who are seniors and sort of on that scary field of, like, what am I doing? Where am I going? What did I learn from my whole 4 years as a student, as a history major? What can I, put my skills to use for? So I think that was the really cool part about it for me, was putting my skills to use, probably.
I know I sent my dad, like, every article that was written about this project. And they were like, we're so proud of you. Like, this is so cool, It was so nice to have that, to show them. But, it was really great to show them, this is what I'm doing. This is why I'm a history major. Because I appreciate working with these people. History is important. It's not just a book or an essay. It's about people.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No. We've all had our moments this semester, haven't we?
It's fun. This class is
Join the club,
great.
huh?
I love the honesty, in this class. It's, it's personal. It's not just an impersonal class. So.